What's up, big old D? This is D. I'm gonna do a quick run through. The hardware part of it's probably not too difficult, but the software part is a little tricky in FL Studio. So I'm going to show you how I do it, and I think this is definitely something that you could apply right away. So, okay. So you're going to take your microphone, and you're going to mic your amp, and the amp line goes into your computer. In my case, I have an interface in between, and then from there it goes to the computer, but I think you just go direct to the computer, I think. Anyway, so just going back to my setup, so then it goes into this input, right? It has two inputs. It goes into this input, then it goes into the computer via USB, then it goes into the computer, and the driver that I'm using is the stock FL Studio driver. Okay, so now I'm going to record. I want to record, right? So what you got to do is take a track, okay, an empty track in your mixer, and then, well, that's not empty, sorry. We'll do this one, okay. This one's empty. If you're, I usually label stuff, but anyway, so then you go here, and I don't know how I found this, but anyway, this is where you select your recording channel. So in my case, I have two slots down here, 1 and 2, because my interface has 1 and 2 inputs. So I'm going to select my input, which is 1 for me, okay? And then you should be getting a real-time wow, level. Sorry, I haven't slept all night. Okay, so then you're gonna check it. Okay, we got a level. Okay, so now we're gonna get to recording. So then what you do is you actually want to mute this track here, because if your computer's anything like mine, which I'm sure without a audio interface it's going to be even worse, but you're going to get it's going to play all these channels because that's your project, right? But also it's going to play this track while you're recording, and the amount of time, and so when you're playing, obviously you want to be perfectly in time with the track, but your playback from this channel, if it's not muted, there's going to be a delay. There's going to be latency. So you're going to have your signal from your guitar in time with this, but then it's going to take about a second or two for this to play back. So long story short, it's going to sound like delay, and it's going to really distract you from staying in time and playing, and it's basically impossible. Anyway, so here's my workaround. I mute this track, okay, and then the way I record is I go into your like pedal board or where you want for your VSTs or whatever, and you go to Edison. Edison is how you record. So Edison, this is a recording little plugin. So then what you do is go ahead and arm your track, and you can start playing at any time. It's just going to record. So as soon as you start playing, it's going to show your waveform real time and update. Okay, so now I'm ready to record. So I would just play the track. Okay, so it's playing, and now I'm going to play on guitar. I'm getting my waveform here, right? Okay, now I'm done. Pause it. Pause this. So now I have, pretend that's like a nice juicy little waveform. Now what I'm going to do is trim it. Oop, trim it in here if you want, and then be like, okay, man, that sounds really good. Okay, so I definitely want to use that. So now what you're going to do is take your this is a nifty little tool. You just click and hold, and then you just simply drag and drop. I don't know what the fuck I just did, sorry. Drag and drop right on your timeline. And then you can move it around and you can duplicate it. Okay, cool. So that's all said and done, but you're not completely done yet. It's on the track, but it's just playing back the Edison plugin playback. So what you want to do is double click. Okay, now move it to whatever channel you want, and I'm going to pick the one I recorded in. Keep apples with apples, oranges with oranges. Okay, so that's there. But what I want to do now is mute that Edison track, like I said, because you're going to get playback from the Edison instead of this, if that makes sense. So the reason why I mute this is because I usually like to add effects to my, you know, guitars or whatever I'm recording, you know, etc. So now by this this audio clip is routed to this channel, and this channel is using these plugins, so now you're going to get cool sounds and you can modify and EQ and everything. Just be sure to turn off Edison before you do all this. And then obviously don't forget, maybe not obviously, but then you click that and now it's going to play the channel through these plugins. And that is how you do it in a nutshell. So yeah, if you like look at all these, this bass track here is routed to this, and then here I have some effects and EQ and all that stuff, and I got all these here I got all these guitar tracks and everything from doing this method. So it works, and it took me a long time to figure it out, but this is what works for me, and I really do think it would work for you too, since you have FL Studio and you have a way of plugging into your computer some sort of direct line in. So this is how you can get started. Alright, I'm sorry if that didn't make any sense or whatever, but I'm pretty tired, so good night.